We hope that something crazy does happen, and maybe you can start with this. Weigh in. We just put this up on our Twitter account here between Paul George, and we know there's others as well. Lesser extent, Rubio, Derrick Rose, etc. But bigger names: Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Melo, or Drummond. Of the four, who do you think is most likely to be dealt?
Yeah, that's the tough one because it sounds like Jimmy Butler, the Bulls are kind of backing off, trying to move him. I think with Paul George the same, they would need to really be completely blown away by a deal. But I think really it's more. If you ask me which team probably needs to make a move, I would think it's Indiana, just because Paul hasn't really given indication that he wants to stick around long term, and you already have a pretty solid building block in Miles Turner that you could start moving forward with, and right now you have Paul George and you're not doing that much better than you are than if you don't have him. So if I were to make a move, I would probably be Larry Bird thinking about moving on from Paul George, but I don't know if any of those guys are actually going to be moved. I think teams are just trying to gauge interest and see what they can get for them, and they'd have to be completely blown away. And I don't know if anybody is that desperate to just give away the farm to get a guy, even no matter how good he is. You can see what New Orleans had to give up for Boogie Cousins. I think a lot of teams want deals like that now. And I don't know if anybody wants to sell the farm.
Hey,
Yeah.
they set the precedent, right? And
Yeah, the wrong direction.
That's what I mean. So,
Yes.
and it's bad for 2017 for all these teams looking to make deals. But we did hear some inklings that Magic and Larry Bird were chatting about Paul George. What could Magic give up that Larry Bird would say, yeah, that makes sense. Paul's not going to sign here in a year and a half. We can rebuild around this guy. Which one of these guys would they really want?
I mean, they that's a tough call because I'm not sure. I mean, they have some pretty solid pieces with Randall, Julius Randall, Jordan Clarkson, D'Angelo Russell. They could pretty much get the foundation for a young team moving forward, and then get the Lakers pick this year if it winds up being top three, which is what they would obviously be going after, is having the top three pick. But if they add Paul George, it'd be tough for them to hold on to that pick. So I'm not quite sure. I think it's interesting. I think about that Magic Bird first commercial with Converse, and Magic pulls up in French Lick and looks over and talks about how he got the new shoes. And then Larry Bird challenges him.
Yo, Mike, hang on. Now you're talking my language. That commercial, he rolls up in the limo, and Larry's, draining 25-foot J's on the dirt court. Magic rolls out with his warm-ups, and he's got that was, and I used to wear those weapons, not the ugly purple. The purple ones were whack. I used to wear and I'm not a Celtics fan, but I used to wear those black and white weapons all with jeans. Oh, I love those sneakers, man.
But you remember what Larry Bird said to Magic?
Something about the MVP, if I'm not, I could be off. I forgot what he said.
He said, "Show me what you got."
Show me what you got. That's right. That's right. And then they rip off the
Magic right now. Oh, you want Paul George? Show me what you got.
That's nice. Michael Lee with us here of The Vertical. I threw this by Tiki earlier, and it's probably, more intimate to me because it negatively impacted my team here. But I do think, a couple of years, 6 years ago now, back in February of 2011, I do think there's a precedent. There's a model to be used for other teams to not make the same mistake that the Knicks made 6 years ago. We all knew Carmelo wanted to come here, and the Knicks gave up a first-round pick and Gallinari and Wilson Chandler and Timofey Mozgov and useful pieces, and they really just sabotaged their own roster. Do you think that Magic, or don't you think that Magic should look at that almost as a blueprint how not to approach Paul George?
Well, yeah, that is one way to look at it, but the situation with Carmelo was he was in the last year of his deal.
No, I pointed that out. You're right. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but Paul has another year on his deal, so I don't think that that he has to be stressed. Or if I'm Larry Bird, I have to be totally stressed. I have to move Paul right now because he's still in the contract for another year. With Carmelo, that's what makes Carmelo deal so bad is that he had absolutely no leverage to force that kind of trade. And I can't believe that Dolan was. Yeah, I can't believe Dolan was that desperate. But it looks bad. It looks silly. And I think if you ask Carmelo, and you go back on all the things that he's done, any mistakes that he's made, I bet you if you ask him if he could do it over again, if he would just have waited, until free agency to go to New York and had all those players there, the Knicks would have been so much better, and his reputation would be so much different if he actually had players that could help him when he got there.
Or Michael, if he made players better.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's be honest.
He can. He he's
not a point guard, so he's not a point guard, so it's hard.
And neither is LeBron.
They had Ray Felton there at point guard, and I think, if you have solid point guard play with Carmelo, you're typically going to wind up winning, and that's one thing he's been lacking for a number of years. But, you gave him Chauncey Billups. He wound up going to the conference finals.
Mm-hmm.
You gave him Jason Kidd. He wound up winning the division, winning 54 games. So I think that's one of the more overlooked aspects of Carmelo's game is that if he doesn't have somebody that can make it a little easier for him to just catch and shoot and do other things where he doesn't have to think and dribble so much, then he can win a lot more games for you. But if you have him just going ISO Melo, then you're going to struggle. You're going to basically be winning by the percentages of his shots, and that might not be that good.
Yeah. Then they gave him Linsanity, and he got jealous that somebody else was sucking up the spotlight. talking to Michael Lee, who's with The Vertical. Michael's with us here on Tiki and Tierney. 3 Eastern deadline. We're all over it.
Yeah, Mike, we talk about this deadline and the Boston Celtics. You brought it up early, and Jimmy Butler. It seems like, though, that this won't happen because of Jae Crowder. What's the infatuation? I mean, why is that the hinge in this deal?
Jay just brings so much to you on the defensive end. He's such a feisty competitor, and his energy is contagious. And I think that as much as Isaiah Thomas is the guy that's going to get you buckets, and Al Horford does the rebound and a lot of dirty work, Jay is really the kind of the heart of that team in the sense that he just doesn't back down from anybody. He's always ready to scrap. And when you have players like that, that's kind of what you need for your team if you're really going to be that team that can compete. If you feel like you want to challenge LeBron, you want to have a guy who's not scared of him. You want to have a guy who wants to go in there and get rough with him and mix it up. And that's basically what Jay is. He's been that way from the beginning, and he's just a tough piece. Personally, if I have to choose between him and Jimmy Butler, it's not really a question.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy's going to bring a lot of that same edge. So I'm a little surprised that will be what the holding point. But I also understand why you want to have him on your team because he's a fighter.
All right, man, you got me back on the sneaker tip. I got a little something for you. Listen to this, Michael. Go ahead, guys.
The Converse weapon. That's to shoot. That's Magic do what he was born to do. Maybe so, but that's not all. They let Isaiah play like he's 10 feet tall.
Or the kind of moves that never fail. The weapon's the choice of Kevin McHale.
The same is true for Mark McGuire. When I wear weapons, I'm on fire.
Well, what can the weapons do for King? Well, I can do just about anything.
You already know what you did for me.
What?
I walked away
With the MVP. Y'all know what the shoe can do for me. I walked away with the MVP.
Hey, Magic, show me what you got.
Yeah, that is a little strange. Show me what you got.
Yeah, I can find all the clips.
Oh, man. How old are you, by the way? Because I know we're in the same wheelhouse here. I'm curious.
I'm 40.
All right, so I'm 43. I got a couple of years on you, but it's the same. And but those raps, they're harmless, they're corny.
It sounded like the Super Bowl shuffle.
But they're non-threatening. It's just good, wholesome stuff. Why can't we get back to that stuff? You know what I mean, Michael? Let's start a movement. We'll get back to the corny rap days. You behind me or what? You with me?
I'm not with you.
Oh man.
I want
well, then you're against me.
To the '90s, where you had, Jay-Z, Nas, had some lyricists out there.
No, I got you. I'm
more into that. I'm more into that.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, by the way, lesser scale, obviously, the Knicks should be motivated to move Derrick Rose. And it looks like the T-Wolves really want to make this happen with Ricky Rubio. I think we all know who Derrick Rose is, what he was, where he is now. I feel like there's still a lot of people guessing at who Ricky Rubio is. Give us your scouting report on him.
He's a great playmaker. He's a guy who can facilitate. He doesn't shoot the ball well, but I think he gets a lot of steals. He's a solid defensive player. I just think that his confidence is shot when it comes to shooting. Because a lot of teams, a lot of coaches have wanted him to be more aggressive offensively, but he doesn't really have that mindset. He wants to be a playmaker. I think if he comes to New York and he's playing with a guy like Melo, it might be a good combination because he just wants to feed guys. He wants to set them up. The problem is in this day and age, You need a point guard who can shoot. You need a point guard who can knock down the three. He's tried to improve in those areas, but he just doesn't have the confidence to take those shots, and that's a problem. But I think overall, he's a pretty solid player. It's just like guys like him and Rondo, great facilitators who don't have great jumpers. In this day and age, it's tough to really find a good spot for him. But if you put a guy who's passive offensively with a super aggressive scorer, then you might be on to something. I think that's if I'm the Knicks, I really would like to do that because, like I said before, you give Carmelo a guy who can set him up, then you're going to be way better than if you have somebody who's not looking to give him the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I agree with the way you explained that. Michael, I know you're going to be busy today. Good luck with everything that goes down. We'll be reading. Good chat, buddy, and lace up those weapons. We'll play a little one-on-one. I'll take you out, okay?
Show me what you got.
Yeah,
right,
show me what you got, Michael Lee.
Okay, Magic, show me what you got.
Yeah. See you, pal. Thank you.